Morning, everybody. How we doing?
Hey, your drumming was so awesome the other night. I was watching KDP speed.
Okay, okay.
And it was like, damn.
Yeah, we
I don't know if it was the jar.
Today is Friday, October 30th, and we're here
no, it was a fun one.
to rally and protest as a press conference.
No, we'll have another one. We always do. We'll always have another.
Made.
Sorry, everybody. How we doing? We're out here at the front door of KSTP, rallying and trying to get our actual truth out because they've been sending a lot of false reports out. So here's our press conference that the press decided not to arrive for.
Due to the distrust of him and his practices at these actions, and the way that we distribute trust in these actions is by people telling the truth, being authentic, and showing up even when it doesn't matter, and also showing integrity. And integrity is when you do the right thing even when nobody is looking, and not just doing it for a photo op or not doing it when you're getting likes, views, and shares, but when you're doing the right thing even when nobody is looking. However, it seems to be that Jay wants to send a specific message and criminalize, dehumanize, and marginalize folks that are in the protest community, standing for justice, demanding accountability from elected officials and police, people that stand for anti-police brutality, people that stand for black liberation, and people that say Black Lives Matter, which is a bare minimum. And J. Cole's and KSTP has shown that they vehemently disagree with that, and although they engage in what they perceive to be objective journalistic practices, they are doing quite the opposite of that in displaying protests, marches, black people, and predominantly BIPOC neighborhoods as less than human. And we're here today to say that we're not going to stand for that anymore. We're not going to stand for that anymore. And what we're going to do is we're going to have some people speak down the line on their experience, and they're going to speak their truth. And even though Jay has been in some of these neighborhoods and spoke to some of these people and been in the same area as some of these people, he has not gotten these people's stories.
Right.
So when folks don't do their job, it is then our job to pull up on their job so that they do their job or they leave their job.
Yep.
This man gets paid to show up to actions and tell lies. This is what he's doing. So we're going to continue this and pass this mic down the line to folks that have been affected by Jay's lies, KSTP's lies, and go further with the community's narrative and not KSTP's. And I'm going to bring up Tashir Garraway, lead of Family Supporting Families Against Police Violence, to speak on that next. Give it up to Tashir.
Thank you, son. So I want to first thank everybody for coming out because this was a last minute thing. We just seen John McCollum sent to me once this evening that they had did this whole news coverage that was one-sided, that was only the narrative of the people in the political seats and leadership seats that are not doing what they are supposed to be doing to help the people in the community, which is what their job is to do. I want to thank Michelle Gross and Jess Sundu for pulling this and helping me to try to get the media here. But of course, they don't want to rat their own out, so that's why everybody has their phones out right now. And we are going live on Facebook. We're gonna do this again in another, I would say, week or two, just so I can give other people that had something to say out here in the community, give them a chance that couldn't make it this morning because it was a last minute thing that we just pulled together. And that's one thing that's so awesome about our movement is that we can pull something together quick, fast, when we need to. And so that's why I'm so grateful for this movement and everybody in it, because we pull it together quick. But I just want to say, first of all, it is COVID-19. So most of these people in the political seats, their offices are at home. This is why we show up to their homes, because their offices is at home. Okay? And then furthermore, if they were doing their job when they were in their offices, then we wouldn't be showing up at their homes. You did not do your job. We were pleading and begging for changes in the legislative rooms in the Capitol prior to George Floyd being murdered, okay? So George Floyd might be alive today had they made some changes prior to George Floyd when the activists in the community and when the families were pleading for help and begging and crying for help. Maybe we wouldn't be showing up to your home. But you're not going to switch the narrative on us, and you're not going to tell lies on us and say that we vandalized your property. Mike Freeman's house had police officers and state patrols outside his house every day that we were out there. Okay? If somebody broke a window or vandalized Mike Freeman's scary ass on his property, don't you think somebody would have got arrested? Nobody got arrested. At Lisa's house, when Tucson led the march, how many were not filmed? There was no vandalism to her property. We were on a public street outside of her house having a conversation, okay, about the injustices here in the state of Minnesota.
I have a live
so
stream
we're
of
not
that.
going to let you switch this narrative and continue to pretend like you guys are the victims when we are actually the victims. The community is actually the victim. Our families are actually the victims. And you will not continue to switch this narrative on us. So every time you try to swerve the narrative around, we're going to come back out here and we're going to turn it right back around the right way. And that is the way of the community and the families that are out here hurting. You've already dehumanized our loved ones when you murdered them in cold blood, okay? That's what the police have done. They've murdered our loved ones in cold blood, and then the media comes out and dehumanize our loved ones, bring up their history and what they did wrong when they flunked their 4th grade test back in 4th grade. They want to bring up all their history of everything they did wrong in their life when it's serial killers on the loose on these police departments. We are the victims in the community. You guys are not the victims. They showed a picture of Mayor Fry's significant other trying to push somebody away, someone that was protesting, that was hanging up a banner. And they pointed out that it was a newborn baby inside. Well, guess what? I would love for that to be my biggest problem. Because my son comes home to his father never coming home again. So I would love for somebody to be hanging a banner outside my house so Justin can come home every day. I would love to trade spots with you. I would love to trade spots with Mayor Fry and his significant other and their newborn baby and just have a banner hung up outside of my house. I would love for that to be my biggest problem. So again, they are not the victims. We will not continue to help them portray that narrative. And every time they come out here, and every time they pretend like they are the ones that are in harm, that are in danger, that are afraid, that are scared. That's us out here in the community. That's our families out here in the community. We have not vandalized their property, because somebody would have got arrested. And that's all I have to say today. But I just want everybody to know that this will be happening again in about 2 weeks, because they will not continue to lie on us and spin this narrative any longer. I've been through it for 11 years, watching them spread lies on my son's father, watching them spread lies on the activists in the community, watching them spread lies on the other families and their loved ones after they murder us and slaughter us. These are 2020 lynchings that they're doing here in the state of Minnesota, and they're pretending like they are the victims. These people in the political seats are knowing what's going on, and they're permitting it to happen. They're permitting this racist behavior. It's disgusting. And we won't, every time they spin the narrative, We're gonna come back out here and spin it the right way. And that's the way of the community and the families and the people that are hurting. Thank you. And now I want to call up Jess Sundu.
Thank you, Tashira. Thank you all who came out this morning. I don't often say morning, but you know what? We'll come out any time of day, any day of the week, to stop these media lies that are just part of the cover-up for what police and politicians are doing wrong. Every lie they tell makes it harder to end the police killings in our communities. I'm going to give you an example. I'm from Twin Cities Coalition for Justice for Jamar. The first lie the cops told about Jamar after he was killed is a lie that many people in our communities still believe to this day. It was 100% false. Jamar was not involved with the woman that the ambulance got called for. Jamar did not hurt that woman. There was no domestic situation. It was 100% false. It was a lie made up by the police. But you know what? These media, they told it again and again and again. And more than 6 months later, the truth finally came out. But people didn't hear it 6 months later, because they've been 6 months believing that Jamar hurt a woman and that's why he died that day. It was never true. And because of that lie, not only were more people killed, but Jamar was harder for him to get justice, right? So not only does it help cover up these murders, it helps justify them. These cowardly ass politicians. I just wonder what it's like to live in a place where you never see graffiti or a broken window. Because I live a half a mile from Floyd Square. So not only do we see community members killed by police, not only do we see the unhoused in our neighborhood every day, but yeah, we see a little bit of vandalism now and then. That has nothing to do with the protests, right? But you know what? If a window gets broke or a little graffiti gets sprayed, that's just the truth. That is the people expressing their true feelings. But regardless, we are not okay with the media continuing to spread these lies, right? Right? And what our job is to do is, like Tashira said, every time they turn out another one of these lies, we come out and turn it back, don't we?
Yep.
Enough is enough. I just want to say lastly, Tashira's 100% right. These politicians, we're going to chase them wherever they go. And you know, once COVID's over, maybe we will come in the house or come in the offices. But it doesn't matter where they are. We're not stopping. We're not going to stop. Never going to stop. I want to try to end with a chant. I kind of made it up in the cold, so we'll see how it goes, you know. We're going to try, right? Hey, media, stop your lying. Because of you, our people are dying. Hey, media, stop your lies. Because of you, our people are dying. Hey, media, stop your lies. Because of you, our people are dying.
Yeah.
Stop your lying. Because of you, our people are dying. Hey, media, stop your lying. Because of you, our people are dying. And to speak to that, who knows a lot about J. Cole's and a lot about media lying, Michelle Gross from Communities United Against Police Brutality.
Yeah, Michelle!
Woo! Yeah, we do. We know a whole lot about media lying, don't we? We all know it. That's right. So, think about this for a minute. These guys have media people, for good reasons, have high levels of protection, of First Amendment protection. They actually have protection outlined specifically for the media that is part of the Bill of Rights, which is the first 10 amendments to the Constitution. So here they are, they've got a First Amendment right, and that's a lot of power for them. It's bullshit when they abuse that power. That's what's really messed up, is when they abuse that power. And what we saw in this report, and this is one of a number of reports, but in this particular report, it was 4 minutes and 57 seconds long, 5 minutes long. The entire time, they spun a narrative that conflated peaceful, legal protests in public streets in front of politicians' houses with vandalism. They spun that narrative. They conflated the two. Listen, because of COVID and as an excuse, and using COVID as an excuse, our politicians have disappeared.
Yep.
They've gone in their houses. They've hunkered down. They've avoided the community every chance they get. And y'all seen Jacob Fry lately?
Nope.
You can't get that guy on the phone. He doesn't answer emails. He doesn't answer letters. And the same thing even with his administrative assistant. They don't make themselves available to us. Nope. And we have a right to air our grievances, to redress our grievances. That's part of our First Amendment right. With our government officials, we have that right. So rights go both ways, media. When you conflate peaceful protest with rare instances of vandalism, and by the way, I'm not particularly bothered by that vandalism, I'm gonna be honest about it, because, you know, y'all brought it on yourselves by not doing what the hell we needed you to do in the first goddamn place. And if you'd done what the hell you're supposed to do in the first goddamn place, you wouldn't have a damn thing to worry about. Let's make that clear right out the gate. Y'all been avoiding doing what you could have done to stop George Floyd from being killed and other people from being killed, and you still ain't done it, and we're 7 months out.
Yep.
So come on, man. The problem is not the protesters. The problem is the injustice that led to the protests.
Yeah.
Let's be clear. Let's be clear. And like I said, these guys hide out and act like you don't have a right to bring your grievances to their home offices. You have every right to do that. And J. Cole, he's simply pissed off at protesters. So what does he do? He puts out a 5-minute long report that quotes some has-been, never was, named Rich Stanek, who used to be the sheriff, who tried to go and lie and say, oh, I had some bullet holes in my house in 2017. Ain't nobody was protesting his ass in 2017. Ain't nobody was protesting his ass. He wasn't even in office in 2017. He's so full of shit. I'm so sorry, that is utterly ridiculous.
Yep.
Nobody was protesting his ass, but I will tell you this. His son's a sex offender
Yep.
and a drug dealer.
Yep.
And so it very well could have been, oh yeah, he's in prison right now, in state prison.
That is
He very well, whoever shot up his house that he's claiming in 2017, very well could have been one of his son's enemies.
Yep.
He didn't have the damn protesters shoot up his house. Ain't nobody shot up his house. He's a damn liar. And this is what they trot out as, oh, people go into these people's houses. It's such a problem. No, the problem is the injustices that lead us to protest. We have to be clear on that. And listen, you want to solve the problem? You think it's terrible that protesters come to your house? If I had protesters at my house, you know what I'd do? I'd come outside with a pitcher of lemonade and say, let's sit down and let's have a talk. Tell me why you're here.
Yep.
Let's have a conversation. Let's figure out what we can do to deal with this injustice. You know, that's what the hell real people do. Politicians cower in their damn homes. I'm telling you, radio silence. I ain't seen the mayor since George Floyd was killed. You seen his ass anywhere? Because I don't see him nowhere.
Nope.
And he doesn't answer emails, he doesn't answer phone calls, he doesn't respond to letters, and neither does his administrative assistant. What the hell do you expect us to do to get through to your ass? Yep. We will go to your house because we're going to get through to your ass. Because people getting killed is more important than you feeling like you made your little house into a sanctuary.
Yep.
Too damn bad. And as for J. Cole's, this guy has never had integrity. In the decades or more that he's been here reporting, he's pulled up all kinds of foolishness with Pointergate, all kinds of other lies, and, you know, he's been proven to be a liar over and over again. He's not a real journalist. He's a fake-ass mouthpiece for the powers that be. He ain't no real journalist, and screw that. And so, yes, we will be calling him out every damn day. Yes, we will. And by the way, J. Cole's, your lack of integrity is showing.
Yes.
All right, you guys, thank you all so much. We will be out here hollering and yelling. Any media that dares to put a ridiculous ass, biased ass story like that, count on seeing us. Count on it. All right. Thank you.
Yeah, Michelle.
And for one of the community members that brought this to a lot of people's attention was Jonathan McClellan, who's going to come up and speak next.
Yeah,
Jonathan McClellan, y'all.
Yeah!
I penned some words before I came over here. I'm gonna share with y'all. Oh yeah. For far too long, BIPAC families have had to live in terror just for being different or having pigment. Our communities have lost loved ones whose blood stains these streets and whose blood is on the hands of not just the police who murder and maim us because of hate, racism, and prejudice, but also on the hands of our elected leaders who consistently fail to show up, speak up, and act, hoping that our pleas will fade into the night, absolving them of their responsibility. Media, not all but some, who have failed to tell the whole story fairly and objectively of what this movement is about, so I'm here to set the record straight. This movement is about ending systemic racism, ending the malicious killing and brutality of people. It's about cutting out the root of oppression, and most importantly, it's about justice. We will not stop, we will not waver, we will fight until our mission has been realized. And while we're in an election year, probably one of the most important of our time, it's important to remember morality, decency, fairness, and justice is on the ballot. We have to ask ourselves, what kind of world do we want to leave our children? One of division, privilege, chaos, and brutality, or one of unity, understanding, justice for all, a place where all are created equal? I know what we are fighting for. The question is for you.
Yeah. Beautiful. Beautiful.
Thank you, John.
Beautiful, John.
All right, Joe Quinones, who is related to Brian Quinones, who was gunned down by numerous police officers in the suburbs, had something sent to them about how KSTP reported on Brian's murder. So if you want to speak, here you go.
Rhonda.
So, as you said, I'm Brian Quinones' cousin. He was murdered September 7th of 2019. There's litigations going on in regards to this case, so I'm not going to say much other than what Donnie sent me because I don't want to mess anything up. But KSTP virtually made Brian a criminal. And as many of you know, he was not. When they used police rhetoric to report his murder, they don't give a shit about the families. They don't give a shit about any of the families. They care about their story. All of them do it. They spread and support police rhetoric and make themselves look better. Also, in regards to other news sources, KSTP and K11 interviewed the family, and they never or hardly ever use the interview of the family. They don't use that footage. They do not use the footage. They use footage that supports the rhetoric they want to spread. Everything that they have is confirmation bias. It's unfair and it's unprofessional. It's unprofessional. We need unbiased media that shows the real stories of these families, okay? That's all I'm going to say, but yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, Joe.
Tell me what community looks like.
This is what community looks like.
Tell me what community looks like.
This is what community looks like.
And to speak to protesting and what's been going on in the streets, Soren was in the streets, and we're going to have Soren to speak to their experience as opposed to, which pretty much rivals what J. Cole's wrote and reported. So Soren, if you could speak. Here you go, brother.
Thank you. So, I'll speak a little bit about what who's threatening in the streets, but first I want to start with, they're talking about broken windows. The eye is the window to the soul, and this is a window I can't rebuild. I can't put this window back. It's gone forever. And my sense of smell, I don't know if that counts as a window, but I can't get that back either. So let's talk about the vandalism. My body's been vandalized by the cops. The cops are the ones. MPD shot me with a rubber bullet in the face. So, let's talk about who's threatening at these protests. I was at Mike Freeman's house the day I was shot before, and we were standing there with union leaders, with teachers, with restaurant workers, And we were threatening his political base, not his body, not his property. We were threatening the votes. So then after that, I go up to University in 35, and we're standing there with our hands up, saying hands up, don't shoot, and George Floyd's name. And then we're linking arms in the front, and then 20 or more police vehicles show up on the bridge, including 2 city buses, including armored Humvees. Cops are in full armor, carrying all kinds of weapons, and then they start throwing flashbangs, and then they shoot me in the fucking face. Who's the ones threatening? Not us. We had our hands up, but they're the ones shooting, pulling up with armored vehicles. Why do you have an armored vehicle? Why do you have that? We're not carrying any guns. We're not carrying grenades. There's no planes. Fuck you guys.
Yes.
Fuck you guys. You're the ones threatening us. So, I don't have much else to say besides stop vandalizing our bodies and stop threatening us.
Yep.
And for a lot of folks that don't know why we're out here, it's in solidarity to demand accountability, transparency, and some modicum of authenticity from our media. I've said this many times that subjective and objectivity are 2 things we've come to understand a lot, and there's a third response, and it's not subjective or objective, it's dismissive. And what we're dealing with right now is subjectivity disguised as objectivity. And if you don't know what that is, that's white objectivity. That white objectivity is what public media prides themselves on. That's what every single public media outlet prides themselves on in this state and in this city. And they say, oh, we're just being objective. Whoa, we're just being nonpartisan. Whoa, we're just being neutral. You're not. What you're doing is you're painting a narrative for white people to either feel comfortable or to feel fear. And you do not care about the black communities, about the children of color that you are criminalizing before they are adults, the young women that you are criminalizing before they even set foot out into the world, the non-binary and trans folks that you are dismissing from any narrative that you put out there. You are dismissing full identities, neighborhoods, and demographics from your stories to the point that we feel dismissed, we feel dehumanized, we feel not seen or not heard. That's not going to happen anymore. And the reason why we're here is because of numerous reports that J. Coles have made. The first one showing up on October 27th with the headline, "Protests at Homes of Minnesota Political Leaders Increasing, Some Threatening." Well, be specific. Which some are threatening? And if we don't know which ones are threatening, then you tell us. Because what's threatening is when police pull up on a protest and blow out somebody's eye. What's threatening is when people show up and start killing black men. What's threatening is when police show up and escalate the situation. What's threatening is when police show up and kettle 50 plus people for standing outside of the 5th precinct doing a peaceful protest and arresting every single one of them.
Speak on that.
What's threatening is when a better built gang, a better funded gang dressed in blue with guns on their hips, tasers on their sides, and badges on their chest called the MPD show up to police bodies. They come here to interrogate our bodies, to vandalize our bodies, to devalue our bodies, and we're saying no more. We're saying no more.
No more.
We're saying no more.
No more.
So when we pull up to Mike Freeman's house, somebody who is an abject failure at their job, start with Jamar Clark, John Ripple, go down the list of people that they haven't prosecuted, the cops they've never prosecuted. Mike Freeman is so bad at being an old white racist man, another old white racist man called him out for his racism and said he's sloppy. Judge Cahill called Mike Freeman to the floor and said you're sloppy. You gotta be pretty bad at being racist if an older white man calls you out to the table in public. Then they complain about Lisa Bender. 2013. Terrence Franklin was shot in the basement execution style, a black man, In Lisa Bender's neighborhood, Mama never showed up to the table.
Nope.
Kept declaring bike lanes, kept declaring pedestrian zones, kept wanting to make the city denser, build up more unaffordable housing, and saying that she's building naturally occurring affordable housing, when really Chicagoan developers, slumlords, and everybody else, and white renters that order their books from Amazon are infiltrating uptown, raising the property prices to the point that the social elite are coming in, and she's creating a second Edina.
Yep.
So you're damn right we're gonna pull up on the front doorstep and demand better. Then they want to speak to people showing up to Bob Kroll's house. I don't need to explain that one.
Nope.
Nobody needs to explain that one. Bob Kroll brutalized a 15-year-old biracial kid in the 90s.
Yep.
Bob Kroll used excessive force on an elderly couple in 2002.
Yep.
Bob Kroll, what else do you need to say? He rolls with the motorcycle gang that dons white power paraphernalia. He is the Klan is him.
Yep.
So why wouldn't you show up to Bob Kroll's doorstep and demand better? And lastly, Mayor Fry. They pull up to Mayor Fry's house, and J. Cole has the damn nerve to say there was a child in that house. And if you notice the editing, and filmmakers here, you saw it, they used the photography, sound effects, when they show Fry's wife outside of the window to make it look like a damn Law and Order episode, to make it look like a damn Netflix documentary, to make it look like Saw 5. The hell out of here with that. There was a child inside that house. That's the story. There are children not in houses. That's why they were there. Because they're tired of the unsheltered community being criminalized, dehumanized, and never defended.
Yep.
So if his wife wants to step out of a $250,000 condo palatial estate, then she can do that. Show that story, tell that story. That child has a roof. These children in encampments ain't got nothing. Yep. And although Fry ran on the message, I'm gonna get affordable housing. I'm gonna create housing for people. He's now looking at the biggest population of the unsheltered community in Minneapolis that anybody's ever seen, and he's not doing a damn thing about it.
Yep.
He's determining whether people get housing or not, whether they're sober or drug-free. And the story you can start, J. Cole's, you can start with this. People don't need to be sober or drug-free to deserve kindness, food, and shelter.
Yep.
But yet Mayor Fry seems to think so. And lastly, there was a story that was just run yesterday. And I'm going a little bit long because this deserves it. J. Cole wrote, majority of people take a survey that says that the George Floyd Square zone should be opened up. Here's the problem. Robin Hutchinson of Public Works for White Public, and I will forever call it Public Works for White Public. I will never call it just Public Works. Robin Hutchinson for Public Works for White Public put out a survey a few weeks ago and said, hey guys, we're going to winterize 38th in Chicago. How convenient. How timely that you would show up now. Oh, you want to winterize it. They basically want to spill blood on the land and then pave it back to gold. And that's the way colonialists worked in the first place. They raped the land and paved it back to gold. But we're saying that the pavement isn't working anymore. So Robin Hutchinson came in with the survey, gave 3 options. Open up the streets, or open up the streets. When somebody gives you a test and you fill it in, you just took the test. 64% of the people filled out whatever option they were given. They settled for the survey. Everybody else said, no justice!
No streets!
No justice!
No streets!
No justice!
No streets!
No justice! No streets! That's what they said. And what J. Cole's refused to report was that 64% of the people just took the survey. They didn't say open up the streets.
Yep.
They just took the survey. And everybody else said, the hell out of there with that. We're not going to let you come in here and take a city commission tax-paid murder and beautify it with city commission tax-paid workers. You can't do that. You can't do that. So we're not going to stand for that. And that's what he failed to include. Lisa Bender and Public Works for White Public can't kill a man, spill blood in the streets, and then come through and say, you know what, we're going to put up flower pots. We're going to put up art. We're going to put up a memorial and say the city of Minneapolis honors George Floyd. Well, the city of Minneapolis hasn't been honoring black folks a lot lately, so you don't get to come into the zone and beautify it. The people are in charge of the zone. Yep. So until you pay some restitution, until you answer 24 demands, you don't get to come into the zone. And as far as I'm concerned, if I see J. Cole's in the zone, it is on site. I will speak to that man. I will speak to that man in his face. He will have to deal with me if I see him. This will be a face-to-face encounter. I'm not threatening violence. He has to come see the black community, and he has to tell the stories of black folks, of our community. Not just black folks, but our actual truth. Our community. These lies create white fear, and they want to deliver white comfort in a city that prides itself on being democratic, telling the truth, being neutral, being nonpartisan, when really what they're doing is spinning lies and assassinating the characters of the dead that the police have already killed physically. We're not going to stand that. We're not going to stand for that anymore. And for the police that are down there with their car, y'all can stay over there. You are not welcome. You have the opportunity to shut up and listen, because you haven't been doing a lot of it.
Bye.
You can stand right there and listen. That's what you can do. You can listen to black folks and the people's pain, because you've been causing a lot of it and you haven't been listening to it. So y'all can show up with your $70K job, get paid by the people, and sit here and listen to us. I want to bring up somebody who's been in the zone and who brought this to my attention as well, and wants to speak to what the lies that were spun about it. Mylisha, if you could come up and speak about the zone real quick. Give it up for Mylisha. Come on.
Okay, first of all, I'm going to say no justice.
No streets.
No justice.
No streets.
No justice.
No streets.
No motherfucking street.
That's right.
That part, all right, y'all, I'm Mylisha. I've been out on the square since day one.
Yep.
Back when we were standing out there with our bodies to block off the street. And so we done came a long ways. And I appreciate everybody who is in solidarity with us. Whether or not they hold physical space, in spirit, the prayers, the food, the propane tanks that's keeping us warm right now.
Yep.
All that.
Financially.
I am very, well, everybody know I don't mess with the media. Anytime I see media at the square, they get booted out by me. It ain't no, I don't care why you there. But to read the story about today, I'm really disappointed. I didn't even read it all the way through because I already knew that it was some bullshit. They don't never really, they doing things for they're giving out stories to save their jobs. That's kind of how I feel. And like I be telling every news reporter that I catch, I only speak on my behalf, that I catch at the square, I don't care what your story about. Because you coming in here for personal gain. You coming in here for a personal outlook on what it is that you can do for your career. But unfortunately that, I really don't care about their career because they don't help me pay no bills, they don't help me buy no shoes, they ain't help me buy no snow pants this winter. So to me, their careers are not really important to me because you're not doing nothing that is in light of the movement. And I say the movement individual, I just call it a movement and liberation as a whole because I can go ahead and pinpoint every little story from George Floyd to Mayan Burrell.
Yep.
Y'all see my team?
Say it again.
Catch it?
Say it again.
Free Mayan.
Free Mayan.
Free Mayan.
Free Mayan.
Free Mayan.
Free Mayan.
Come on now. I can go. I can go. So, but just knowing that they are just trying to make us seem like we some savages. Like we some not y'all see him? Fuck 12.
Fuck 12.
So yeah, it just they're making us seem like we're not feeding each other, loving on each other.
Yep.
That we ain't mourning with each other. That we ain't uplifting one another, supporting one another.
That's right.
You know, standing in solidarity with each other, uniting with one another. That's what we doing out there. And for them to make it seem like we just some savages, non-humans, because we expressing ourselves. And I stay on 38, so I only can speak about what happens on 38. So on 38, we peaceful.
Yep.
You might hear a little bit of cursing, but people can express themselves. Who am I to tell you how to choose your vocab? People are out there mourning in ways that they can't mourn anywhere else. People done protested without getting shot by the police. Where's the young man that got? I promise you, none of that would have happened on 38th. None of that would have happened on 38th.
Yep.
I could promise you that my kids come out on 38th.
Yep.
My 5-year-old come out on 38th. So it's safe enough for them to be out there. It's going to be safe enough for you. There have been hundreds of kids out there expressing themselves. There have been not in the best of light, and people didn't know how to necessarily contain themselves, and I had to de-escalate situations that were de-escalatable. But if I was the police and feel like I had some authority over the next person, it could have ended so differently. But since I empathize and sympathize with the next person, I'm able to get outside of my shoes and my body and understand that person and deal with them according to how they need to be dealt with. But unfortunately, even if I did have that power over people, and I'm a parent, I don't even got that type of power over my kids to be treating them in such ways because I'm a parent. So, but I have some type of authority over them. But I have to treat the next person how I would want to be treated because I'm human. You're feeling. Feelings are temporarily. You're not going to be this angry forever. It's just for right now. But once you can be able to calm down and use your words instead of your emotions, that's really what it is about. I don't ran across some angry people. But as soon as they calm down or be able to be grounded, then you can express yourself with your words. Now I can hear you. I can't read actions because that can be misunderstood. But words itself, you can express yourself. So people be mad that men like him go out and peacefully protest and stand somewhere that somebody else doesn't want to be. That's not right for somebody to shoot rubber bullets and mace them and do all that other good stuff because you scared. Hell, I've been scared all my life. Welcome to the table.
Yep.
Come have a seat. Don't get too comfortable though, because I ain't comfortable, but have a seat. So just because you're scared or you're uncomfortable because you want to police people outside the neighborhoods that you live in sounds personal. Y'all need some additional training. But not even that, I'm all about abolishing the police. So I can't even say train them differently because to me, y'all just a whole group of slave owners trying to find some other type of slaves and name it differently so you can get some money. Because if y'all really break it down about it, how are people in encampments going to jail for being homeless?
Yep.
Because I decided to sleep right here? You would think that they want to sleep right there? Or better yet, they're going to jail because they feel like they need to steal things that they need.
Yep.
I don't think people should have to be stealing deodorant and tampons and little snacks and stuff to get by. I think that should be a given, you human. Yep. But that's just my personal opinion. Who? Hell no. WCCO, not KSTP. Who else? Fox? None of them. Even the people who come from other countries is kind of, what you here for? Actually, you know what? Don't even tell me why you here. I'm going to tell you why you here.
That's right.
I'm going to tell you how you going to deliver this story. I'm going to tell you who you need to be speaking to and what type of questions that you need to be asking because you ain't even asking the right question.
Yep.
So it's not like I don't want news reporters or people to be coming out here to get no story. Come in and get a view from the inside looking out, so you can determine on what type of story that needs to be told. Don't be giving out no story that's going to, shoot, I think if you did it like that, you get a better story. Instead of trying to think of, ain't nobody, the square is where no law enforcement can come in. True. But that doesn't mean that the fire department can't come in there.
Speak
or
on that.
EMS can't come in there.
Speak on that.
Or who else be coming in there? Well, everybody but the police can come in there. And I stand firmly on that.
Yep.
And hey, just like if I met right here next to me, I'm going to come on in the square. Can I get you some hot cocoa? Because most definitely you don't get some. Or if you make it around 7 p.m., dinner is about to be served. Don't leave too quick. Type of situation. But yeah, we're made it seem like people aren't welcome. I done met people from all over the world just these past 6 months. Yep. Shoot, I'm surprised I ain't learned no language compared to, it's been a lot. But for them to make it seem like we are in a endangered space and with some endangered people, it's a lie. Ain't nobody died. It's been 6 months, ain't nobody died. Ain't nothing happened where somebody like, oh my God, I ain't never coming back to the square.
Right.
Man, there been some situations where I'm like, man, I got a little crazy today. I don't know if people coming back out tomorrow. And seeing the person I was speaking to the next day, because she understood that people are expressing themselves. Just because people curse or yell or may seem a little hostile, that's how they feeling. Yep. And most of society ain't even learned how to deal with their emotions. Then on top of that, we've been cooped up in our house all year. After they dropped the chicken sandwich, I feel like I've been in the house. Well, I ain't been in the house, but people been in the house. So it's like,
don't even remember the chicken
stop making something seem that it's not. And if they really want to know, come meet me. Come meet me personally. My name is Miley. You should come to the square and meet me. Get a feel of why we are outside. Why are we here? Why is there no justice, no street? So, but on that, I don't even like doing this. No justice, no streets. And no, we said no justice, no street. And we mean that. So, hey, justice is on the eyes of the beholder on who it is that you ask. So don't limit yourself on what justice actually is. Ask what justice is and you'll get a bigger definition of what that is.
Speak on. Maisha!
Fire department is welcome. Nobody ever made a song that said fuck the fire department.
Damn straight. Damn straight.
Again, I want to say thank you all for coming out. It's not what they, I always get this one mixed up. It's not it's not the quantity, it's the quality. Yes, so this little group, we can be very effective. So we're going to say our chants. No justice.
No streets.
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 Okay. So we're gonna call up, we got 2 more people. We got John Thompson that I want to come up. And then Marilyn Hill, who lost her son, Demetrius Hill, at the hands of the St. Paul police. And we're just gonna, you know what? I was sitting here thinking, I could thought of a brilliant idea. We need to go to what's his name's house. The one who want to cover this stuff and make these false allegations against us and spin the narrative and all this stuff. We got a little group out here at a short amount of time today, but we can get if we plan strategically, we can get a big group of people, figure out where his ass lives, and go to his house. Because I'm at the point, rain, hail, sleet, snow, okay? I have a 14-year-old son that does not have a father, thanks to the St. Paul Police Department. They dehumanized him, said all these bad things about my son's father, and Demetrius Hill and the rest of our loved ones. So let's just start showing up at their houses. We're gonna go, what's his name, J. Cole? We figure out where his ass live at, and show up. Because, excuse my French, but I don't give a fuck. I'm showing up at your house, your mama house. I don't give a fuck who house it is. I'm showing up. Because guess what? My son doesn't come home to his father, okay? So I don't care about nobody else with their newborn baby because somebody was hanging up a banner, okay? Because I would love for somebody to hang up a banner and for Justin to come home. So until that day happens, which is not going to happen, I'll be sitting outside their house until we get the justice that we deserve, okay? So now we're going to call up John Thompson, and then after that it'll be Marilyn Hill.
I've never seen a black person on this earth stand up and say that they're tired of racism, not get victimized, criminalized, and oftentimes brutalized. These are not old tactics by white supremacists. These are some of the same tactics that J. Edgar Hoover used on the Honorable Chairman Fred Hampton Jr. in Chicago.
Yep.
You know, these are the same tactics. You know, I didn't see no terrorists out here. The domestic terrorists tried to kidnap the governor in Michigan.
Yes.
Those are domestic terrorists. I don't see no terrorists out here. And what they do is they try to criminalize. We're tired of your actions. So if you're tired of our words, if you're tired of our protests, stop giving us a reason to protest. Simple. Because we've been right here. And you're right, brother, when they were talking about there's a kid in the house. There's a baby in the house. Oh, this pretty baby seen these protesters. Let me tell you something. Diamond Reynolds' daughter witnessed the murder.
Yep.
That 4-year-old baby witnessed a murder. There were babies that witnessed the brutality that you perpetrated on 38th in Chicago. Those were babies that witnessed murder. You're complaining about birds? I'm complaining about your actions. Right? You want to help? KSTP, help us dismantle a system that allows a doggone police sergeant to have 58 service complaints, 11 successful lawsuits, and 3 police-involved shoots. Bob Crow, I got you. Let me keep going. Help us dismantle that system, right? Y'all don't want to defund the police, right, City? Well, defund a system that allows officers to keep on getting 30, 40, 50 service complaints.
Yep.
Man, KSTP, not one reporter in this building can get 30 complaints and not be fired.
Yep.
Let's be clear. Let's tell the truth. And let me just tell y'all this. This is why they try to demonize us. The truth don't sell newspapers.
Yep.
The truth don't sell in the media. Don't nobody want to hear the truth. They want to hear a lie. They want to hear George Floyd died over an overdose. That's what sells. They want to hear Philando Castile had a half ounce of weed in the car. That's what sells. They want to hear about his felonies. They want to hear about his misdemeanors. They want to hear about what he's charged with because he's black. I'm tired of them perpetrating that this black is whack and white is right.
Yep.
It's not. Wrong is wrong.
Yep.
Wrong is wrong. And if you're tired of protesters, stop giving them a reason to protest. The whole world is saying we have a problem. Is the whole world wrong? And just the Republicans are right. I guess just, come on, y'all. We know who set the doggone buildings on. Come on, y'all. We know who walked up on 38th in Chicago with an AR and shot at the dog. We know who shot up the 3rd precinct. We know who shot at the doggone Jamar Clark protest. Those are your domestic terrorists.
Yeah.
But you won't report that. You want to sweep that under the rug. We know who drove up on that bus stop on Broadway in the van last summer and ran over them black people. We know who did that. And you want us to stop saying something about it? How hypocritical are you? I'm going to tell you something. Since y'all love to quote Martin Luther King so much, somebody told me, John, you ought to be more soft-spoken like Martin Luther King. Martin Luther King got shot in the face.
Yep.
By a terrorist. Just be clear. This is history. It's history. Martin Luther King got shot in the face. But I know one thing Martin Luther King said that resonates with me for the rest of my life. Martin Luther King said, your life begins to end when you remain silent about things that matter.
Yep.
I'll see y'all on November 3rd.
Yeah!
No justice,
No streets!
no justice,
No streets!
Said no justice,
No streets!
Just like it's no peace, it's no justice, no peace. My name is Marilyn Hill. Yes, it's right about the media. Back there 23 years ago,
Media does want lies. They don't believe in the truth. They will come and they'll listen and want your story. And once you tell the truth, they'll turn around and tell a lie. People don't want to hear the truth, and he's right. My son was murdered. I feel he was killed by the police. They put it in the story, you telling the truth, and the witness telling them what they saw. Now, if you're saying what you saw, and it turns around in the newspaper something totally different, then you go to try to get your story out there, and they got the police telling what they saw because they in cahoots with each other. Then the media talking about, well, this is what the police said. All lies. 23 years ago, my son was shot in the back. My son was murdered. How can my son be shot 6 times when one of the bullets, the first shot, was in the back with his back turned? How can he be running and drawing a gun on the officer at the same time? And the officer saying freeze and shooting 6 times. This is a shame how the media turned the reading in the newspaper around and labeled my son. And then when you go to into the Google, the label, his picture don't show up. But every other description of a person who does a robbery, it listed, but his picture is not there. That just lets me know that his name is ruined, and I want justice because I need it clear. All these years I've been praying and fighting for the Lord to show the truth. And I'm never going to give up because I know he knows the truth. Today, just like I said, I witnessed. I was downtown in St. Paul. I saw all these military trucks lined up on Wabasha. I was wondering why all these trucks that was lined it up. From 5th all the way up to the state capitol. There was a silent, peaceful protest going on at the Capitol. Yep. When I got home, just like his eye, a friend of mine got on Facebook with her daughter. They were in Minneapolis doing a peaceful protest. They surrounded them on the streets. She was saying, Mom, she was showing me, I was watching it. I was on the phone with her mother. She said they have trapped them. Yep. Had them where they blocked them in where they couldn't get out. They started shooting those rubber bullets. And I swear I saw them shooting just at those white folks. What they were doing was trying to scare them to stop protesting. Mm-hmm. But like he did, and I honor him. He stood up just like a trooper. He's been in this fight, and he's still in this fight. You know, when they killed my son, and this guy shot my son in the back, Joshua Label and a few other officers, they had to come up with some kind of story. They left my son in the hallway. Instead of calling the paramedics, they got together and tried to figure out a story to tell. Why would you sit there and allow my son to die? One of the officers had to check to see was he still breathing, while my own family, my own daughter, my own sister had to ask them, did you call the meds? He gonna say, oh. But the thing he said to my son when he was looking at him, you'll be okay. Yes, you hear me talking. You hear me talking. Yes, you killer cops. You killed my son. You sat there and watched them. You try to figure out a way to turn the story around like he pulled a trigger or had a gun in his hand. But the day will come when they'll find out. You all crooked cops. Ever since then, the officer, yes, he got, God knows the truth. The officer that shot my son in the back, yes, 10 years later, justice has served. But these officers that's lying up in this office in St. Paul was a rookie 23 years ago. He's ahead of records. He's got to step down because God's going to lay his hands on him. And every cop out here that's been murdering innocent kids, taking lives, we're the victims. Their time gonna come when judgment is gonna happen. If karma don't hit them or something don't happen to their own, it's gonna hit them in their face. And I know that because when you read your Bible, judgment time and judgment day, we know when we hold strong in prayer and believe, faith's gonna get me through because I know victory is already there. All I know is the truth needs to be out there and its name got to be set free. My spirit is with me. My son is with me because the Lord is with me. And I pray for every stolen life and mother that's going through what I go through because they feel the hole. And anybody that's with us in unity, we still unite together as one. And when they did that, when they shot that rubber bullet and knocked that man's eye out like that, whoever done that, karma's gonna happen. They're gonna realize what they done, it came right back on them. And that officers and these officers that's constantly taking these innocent lives, it's gonna happen. And when they put in the newspaper these lies just to get the publicity out there, you know, one day, you know, the things are gonna change. You can't read what you hear, and you can't believe everything you hear. But when you sit there and someone telling you the truth, sometimes you have to listen. Because not everything is true and not everything is real what you hear. But when a child comes to you and tell you something, sometimes the child be the very one that's telling you the truth. Thank you. My name is Marilyn Hill. Demetrius Hill was my son that got shot in April of 1997. And it's been 23 years, and I'm still out here fighting for justice. Thank you.
Thank you, man.
No justice.
No streets.
No justice.
No streets.
Okay, I want to say the one, no justice, no peace, prosecute the police. No justice.
No streets. Prosecute the police. Fuck 12.
No
Justice, no peace. Prosecute the police. Fuck 12.
No
Justice, no peace. Prosecute the police. No justice, no peace. Prosecute the police.
We're going to let everybody go, but I want to tell you guys, this was last minute. So again, I thank you guys so much for showing up today, because this is why I love the movement, because we can show up for each other at the last minute and we can make something happen. But what I'm going to be doing in the next 2 weeks is organizing the media like King Demetrius, who shows up no matter what. No matter what we got going on. And he's on our side, the right side, sharing the real stories and the real life. So I'm going to be organizing people like King Demetrius and Unicorn Riot and what's his name, Brixton, all of the ones that are on our side, that media, and then still organizing you guys with to go live. And then we're going to possibly come back here, or we're going to figure out where J. Cole lives, since he want to talk about us going to people's houses. We'll just show up at his house. And then, you know what I'm saying? So please keep your eyes open for that. That'll be the next 2 weeks, because they didn't show up today.
Nope.
Also, Move for Justice News as well. Also, BLM, Black Lives Media right here. We all independent, so we just trying to make sure that local media be boots on the ground and make sure that we get something, you know, make sure the stories out there being told truthfully. Thank you all, everybody, for coming out.
Thank you, King. And King, I wrote him last night, and he had to be at home with his kids to do that, and he still showed up. He must have helped the kids real fast. Assignments in, and he still showed up. And like I said, I want to thank you all from the bottom of my heart. Yep, she got mass for sale. But I want to tell you guys, thank you from the bottom of my heart, because you don't know what it means for people like me and Miss Marilyn. 20-something years she's been fighting, 11 years, as hurting families, you know, and having a child at home where I worry about his mental health state because of what happened to his dad. You know, I worry about my baby. But to have you guys show up in the last instance, I don't know what you guys got going on in your personal lives, but you showed up no matter what. and it could have been cold as ever. We're almost in November, and you guys just do not understand or even know what this means, really. Deep in my heart, to be out here telling my story for 11 years and nobody will believe me because they were dehumanizing our loved ones and switching the narrative around and making it something else. And so when the media does that and it's just little old you know, trying to tell your story, trying to tell the truth, nobody's believing that. Because if you hear something over and over and over again, you're going to start to believe that. Mm-hmm. So in the media, in the newspaper, and all the news stations, they're telling these lies about Justin, you know, and Demetrius, and Jeffrey, and Marcus, and Cordell, and Kobe, and all of our loved ones, they're telling these lies about them. So it's like, when we're able to at least tell the truth, and you guys come out here with your phones for people to hear our side of the story, it means more. It may seem small that you guys got up, put your boots on, put your shoes on. No, it means the world to us. It means the world to the people that are hurting the most. Yep. So,
we got your back.
Thank you. Thank you. So, like I said, please keep your eyes open and please come out. And like, I'm gonna organize this again because I know it was people like Nikema and other activists that wanted to be here, but it was just such a short notice, so they couldn't make it. And it was Unicorn Riot. Unicorn Riot wanted to be here, Nico in Georgia, but it was just last minute. So I want to organize all of the media because we don't need them anymore. You know, we don't need them. And we're gonna get the people that we know are on our side. It might be in the next week because the people from California, the media from California, they coming anyway. So it'll probably be in the next week that I'll try to get it organized and get, we'll try again to get the other outlets like Care 11 out and stuff and try to get them out here. But we're going to come back out and we're going to do this all over again. And we're going to spin this narrative the right way. We're not going to let them play victim when his family's out here really hurting. When the activists are out here working hard and it's people like King Demetrius and these other media outlets trying to tell the truth, we're not going to let them play victim. Bob Crow, they had the nerve to put Bob Crow, racist ass, on the thing that they did. This man is, he's a killer. And he's the victim? No, we're not going for that. And every time they do it, we got to be out here. We can't sit back and say, oh, they did that, they said that. No, we need to stand up and say, no, that's not true. And this is the truth of what really happened, because it's people that want to join this movement. But if they watch the news and see that, oh, they're vandalizing stuff, you know what I'm saying? If they get that kind of story, they won't want to join. Yep. Because they think, you know what I mean? We're radical and we're out of our minds. So we talk the truth, and we got to let the public know that. Just as much as they're letting the public know things, we got to let the public know things too. So again, thank you for being here today. I love you all from the bottom of my heart, and I'm grateful beyond words. God bless you all. Thank you.
Yeah!
Y'all want to do a chant before we go?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, what should we do? What's that one? No, KKK, hold up, we want
freedom, freedom.
All these
racist ass cops, we don't need them. Oh, hold up,
we want
freedom, freedom. All these racist ass cops, we don't need them. Hold up, we want freedom, freedom. All these racist ass cops, we don't need them. Hold up, we want freedom, freedom. All these racist ass cops, we don't need them.
And we will end it on the, who wants to do the, the Chicago.
Yeah, Brandon.
All right, everybody fists up. Fists up, repeat after me. It is our duty to fight for our freedom.
It is our duty to fight for our freedom.
It is our duty to win.
It is our duty to win.
We must love and support one another.
We must love and support one another.
We have nothing to lose but our change.
We have nothing to lose but our change.
It is our duty to fight for our freedom.
It is our duty to fight for our freedom.
It is our duty to win.
It is our duty to win.
We must love and support one another.
We must love and support one another.
We have nothing to lose but our chains.
We have nothing to lose but our chains.
As loud as you can, it is our duty to fight for our freedom.
It is our duty to fight for our freedom.
It is our duty to win.
It is our duty to win.
We must love and support one another.
We must love and support one another.
We have nothing to lose but our chains.
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 All power to the people.
All power to the people.
Thank you.
Yeah. Oh. So, down here again, just for as a wrap up, we're at KSTP because of some horrible reporting they've put out in the last couple of weeks about Floyd Town, about the movement itself, about our protesting and our abilities and what we do at said protests. And we've decided to take back that narrative, as we have to. And we called a press conference, and surprisingly, not one media outlet showed up, even though, again, we are literally right outside their front door. This could have easily been reported on at the 12 o'clock news. This could, or at least a little blip about it, but it wasn't. So, so, as we say, you ain't gonna come out, show up and do your job, we'll show up and come do your job for you. So, great job, love. Great job. Right. Get home safely. Don't go that way if you don't have to. You wanna walk? Yeah?
I brought all this stuff, I gotta...
Perfect, yeah. So anyways, we'll be doing this again, and hopefully somebody shows up this time from the actual media. Because here's the thing, we also don't want fake news. It's been a whole thing this whole election cycle about fake news, and we clearly show that the fake news is happening right here in Minneapolis as well, right here within our own liberal cities. So if that's going to be the case, we'll come up and do it ourselves. We had an easy 20, 30 of our own activists motivated here just overnight. And since none of the media showed up, we all whipped out our own phones and had made our own media. So hopefully we'll be able to find many of those around. Independent journalism in Minneapolis thriving, especially within the movement. I'll have links and shit later when I have some time to process and stuff. All right, buddy. All right, see y'all soon. Pleasure. All right, man. Peace, love, solidarity. I'll see y'all soon.